What's up, party people? I just made some pho, and I am ready to vanquish Onshape Assemblies. So we have one more exercise intermediate assembly, and then we can be done with the assemblies module, and we can talk about some detailed drawings and get into some projects. Please like, subscribe, give me feedback in the comments if you have any. Hope these videos have been working out well for you. So, exercise intermediate assembly, revenge of the multi-part part studio. You remember the lever arm, small arm, large arm? Well, we are going to fasten and revolute mate them together. We'll talk about grouping. You are going to understand working with sub-assemblies, so kind of inception. We're going to make multiple assemblies and then combine them together in an assembly. So I hope you like assemblies. And then we're talking about like just instancing parts. So having multiples of the same thing without having to model it multiple times. So let's hop right in, make a copy of this document right here. I've already done so. Hopefully you know how to make a copy of a document at this point. If not, you can go back and look at some other videos that I've made, see how I do it in prior exercises. I already have this document, exercise intermediate assembly. This one is complete, and you could use yours if you went through the video and you think it's up to snuff. Now, we've made a copy. Uh, I am working on it in our document for our class here under assemblies. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab the pivot pin, small arm grip, and the small arm pin. These multiple objects, once we have them, we can hit the check, and they are in our assembly. I'm going to rename this document down here. I'm going to call it small arm. As I said, we're going to work with multiple assemblies and then we're going to combine them together. If you wanted to, you could call it intermediate assembly small arm or smaller intermediate assembly, but it's all the same. You know what I mean? Our next step is to throw a quick group on things. So group tools up here. Group allows us to have things be linked together without actually having to make connector them at all. If I hit the check here, these objects are grouped together so they'll move together. And if we take a look around this side, we click on this object, we're trying to get the triad manipulator. We're trying to get the triad manipulator to snap to the center of this blue pin, and we are going to move it to our origin. So if we take a look at the exercise, just go back and make sure we're doing things right. We renamed our document, small arm assembly, we grouped stuff together. Now we're doing this business with the triad manipulator, moving it to the origin. Gotta hit fix, otherwise things won't work out so hot. We're gonna fix the pivot point, and now things won't move, okay? That's what we're looking for. This thing right here is our pivot pin. With that, we can move on up, and we're going to do a quick fasten mate to fasten this object from the center of this pin here to our lever arm. So now that we're right there, we can do it. Let's hit fastened and move in here, grab that mate connection point, and then we're not going inside. We're not doing like what we did before. We're just going to go on the outside right here, and boom, there it is. They are fastened to each other. Look at that. Let's pop back to isometric view. And I believe the next step is for us to make a copy of the small arm. You can right click, hit copy. You can also Command C, Command V. Right clicking and hitting paste is sometimes good. If you Command V, it'll, I believe, just paste it wherever you have your cursor. With that, we're going to make the other side of this little connector here, another fasten mate. And we're going on the inside here. And then on our pin right here, the innermost portion of the pin there. Now that we have that, we can actually start talking about making the large arm. So again, as I said, it's the return of the you know, multi-part part studio. I'm going to create an assembly, and we'll call this working clamp assembly. And what we actually want to do is bring in an instance of our current part studio. So we're not going from other document, we're going from current document, and we're going to go to assemblies because we want to bring in an assembly, not a part studio, but we're bringing an assembly into an assembly. I can grab small arm, I can hit the check right here, and it's in. What I could also do, if I actually undo real quick here, if I insert it, grab assembly, hit small arm, and hit the check, it'll automatically be hopefully fixed to the origin. When you click it in, you would have to go through that whole triad manipulator business again, which is not the end of the world, but a little bit annoying if you want to have that same reference point there. Um, Once we are there, I believe we're in like steps like 12, 13. Yeah, so we made it the stuff together. We created a new assembly, called it the working clamp assembly. We brought in a new assembly. All we did was hit the check. Again, you may not want to click it in like I just did. Sorry if I had to make you undo. And then we need to fix this. So our small arm, hopefully we can just click on that pin again, and underneath that we can fix. If we take a look right here, you can see all the instances within this instance group like of this assembly. So again, we're fixing this pin. It's within the submenu right here, that little drop down. I'll just leave this open for us. And moving into the next phase, we just got to bring the remaining parts that we need in. Hit there. I'm going to go back to our other document, which might be a little bit annoying and weird, but we're going back to other documents. And I need to bring in a large arm grip, and this pin right here. All right. Now, if I just go ahead and hit the green check, it's going to bring them in. They're in a slightly weird area, but we'll work on fixing that up. Before we fix that, I'm going to go into a somewhat isometric view, just looking at it from an angle, and I'm going to hit group, and we're going to group not the grip, but the pin and this lever arm together. Make sure we're on the right track here. Bring in these three parts. We did that. Grouping the pin and the lever arm. Now, we should do a revolute connection between, again, the inside of the pin and the arm. So let's bring this on out. Revolute mate between there and there. Hit check. We're looking good. Once we have that, we're making another revolute connector, so you don't have to close this window if you don't want to. You can leave it open. We're going to make a revolute mate between this interior side of the hole in our large arm, the center hole, and the interior of the pin pretty much up against this small arm of the grip right there. So if I grab this, our revolute mate connector, the inside of our lever arm that we got right here, that's good. And then rotate around, and it should just kind of like, if you move your cursor around, at some point infer this center point right here. And that's what we're looking at. That's what we're looking for. Hit the check, boom, out, rotate around. We're looking pretty good right now. So what we want to do is right now, the way things have been happening, this right up here, the real term for it is called a sub-assembly. So when you take a look up here, they ask, hey, you should start to organize this a little bit better. These should be in their own sub-assembly. So if we look around and we look at the ISO view, and we select these three objects that we've just kind of worked in, what we should do is click on Move to New Subassembly, and what you'll see here is they're in their own little drop down right here. So if we wanted to, we could go in, and if I can read, I don't know why it's so hard for me right now, we could rename this large arm, and I could hit the check and close. And I mean, it's just helping us organize things. We look at the next step, move to new subassembly, rename. We have, hopefully at the bottom here, if I zoom out, a assembly in our main tab called large arm. Now I'm going to bring that back into my assemblies folder. This was actually made by us creating that assembly within the working class assembly. So we created something new, a new assembly, almost like we hit the plus. Whoop, let's close that. Almost like we hit the plus and create assembly, but we did that from within an assembly. I'm saying assembly a lot. Kind of confusing, but I hope you kind of get it. We were able to backtrack and say, hey, like we kind of wanted to do this. What we can do now is within the large arm, we're gonna fix some stuff. We're gonna hopefully like move some stuff around. And we're gonna make that other side of the large arm that you saw in the example. So if we hop on back here, we made the new subassembly. We renamed the subassembly. We did that within the window. You could, of course, do it right click, rename down here if you really want to. And then what we want to do is actually fix the large arm. So we can fix this. And I guess, yes, we can. We're Bob the Builder, I guess. And we're going to copy the large arm, paste. And after we paste it in, we are just going to make a make connector between inside of here and the inside of our pin right there. So facet make connector between the inside there and rotate it around inside there. Boom. All right. So now we have a nice little setup here. We have our make connection point there. And the last little piece that I believe we want to do in here, if I'm not entirely mistaken, and we'll double check, is we're going to copy this pin. So we're going to make a copy of this, or you can pull it in again, however you want to do it, really. So you can insert it or just copy paste. And then we're going to make connect it into one side of this thing. So I'm just going to hit copy paste because I'm a little lazy. I'm not hitting insert again. That's just kind of slightly too many steps for me. Says the man who's been recording for maybe like 15 minutes. And we're going to find this interior edge right here. And boom, we've done this step. And now we can go back to our working assembly. Now, let's see. Let's take a look. Isometric, large arm, isometric, small arm, back to working clamp assembly. Look what we got. We have those changes that we just made within this document. So again, assemblies, we can make edits to them. The preview hasn't updated for large arm here. It's missing the second large arm. And those changes we make in one assembly will be reflected in the other. Do we have any more big steps? We just need to put a limit. So let's edit the Revolute mate, pop a limit. The small is going to be 0, large 30. So let's hop on back, Revolute, limit, small, if I remember correctly, 0, large 30. Hit OK, hit check. And what happens when we drag this thing up and down? It's not going to flip all the way around. It's not going to break. It just goes up and down. And what you'll actually notice, hopefully, is that it rotates a little bit as you go. You can always spin this around, try to break it if you really want to. Bring it on back. I'm not going to play with it too much. All right, that's all I got. I believe that's it. 27. Is try to measure this distance. We're not going to try that together. I'm sure if we did kind of pop in here with the measuring tool, we could figure it out, but I'll let you do that on your own. Congrats on finishing assemblies. They're fairly useful and complex. Sometimes you may end up using them if you're making like an automata, or you want to kind of test out how a hinge would work, and see what it looks like before you take it to a printer, that sort of thing. If you're trying to mesh gears, you can try to do something with assemblies. They're pretty useful all around for a variety of things that I mean, you would waste time on. You don't have to wait for a print to go through and then you assemble stuff and fail. You can check things out digitally and save some material and save some time. Hope you enjoy my videos. Again, throw me a comment, like, subscribe if you like what I'm doing. Let me know if there's anything I could change. Hopefully my volume's all right this time. Been having some issues with a mic. I need to get a new one. Take care. Have a good one.